The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You're listening to the Sports Scramble podcast, where four friends serve up a weekly plate of sports with a side of SEC bias. Now, here are your hosts, Chet, Jacob, Wade, and Tyler.
Let's go!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble podcast, episode 60. So we decided to break out the live show again on YouTube, give it a shot. It's Monday night, about 8 o'clock. You got Chet, Tyler, and Wade. How are y'all doing this weekend?
Had an eventful weekend. Wade and I attempted to go to a couple of games, and the LSU Baton Rouge regional. I feel like every year that I try and go to a regional, there's always weather delays. And what do we get again? Lightning delays. And as more times I've heard, it's in an 8-mile radius, so we have to have a lightning delay this weekend. But nonetheless, it was an eventful weekend. Always good to see Wade.
Yeah, I mean, we tried, Tyler. We got about 11 innings of baseball in by my count, so not a total wash, but we had intended to do the doubleheader on Saturday, as y'all know. That would have given us 18 innings of baseball in the Baton Rouge Regional, but like Tyler said, it rains far too often here in June, so it was a little frustrating that they didn't move the game times around so that fans like us could catch a lot of the action, but hey, the Tigers got it done, and that's what matters.
Logistics.
Chalk it up to logistics there, Wade. The Saturday started off with a flat tire, and I got a phone call from these two about asking how to fix it.
Only compounded the issues, right?
Yeah, exactly. So bad karma to start the day, and then so it was something like with the NCAA, because I think with LSU, like when they're just playing, it's like a 5-mile radius, but since this is put on by the NCAA, it's like a 10 or an 8 maybe. Which it's lightning over in Plaquemine, which if anybody knows is across the river, a good 15-minute drive from Baton Rouge, and they're like, can't play, cancel the games, which is better safe than sorry. But
the lightning strikes the river all the time because it's a wide open, current loving target, so it would suck all the electricity out. Anyways, we'd be safe.
They got lightning rods for a reason. I'm an electrical engineer. I know this stuff. Let's
just put it this way.
My buddy the stadium.
My buddy was water skiing all day on Saturday, and they didn't come off the water Saturday or Sunday for anything. All right.
It was. I mean, I was watching the interview with the WAFB meteorologist, and everybody was hating on him. He was like, "Look, guys! I don't make the call. I just say the weather. All right." And he was saying, "Better safe than sorry," because you don't want to have a story where someone got struck by lightning and got killed at a baseball game, which. Yeah, I mean,
holding a metal bat,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, that's the worst thing to be holding.
Hey, the foul poles, man.
They're like, you're out there like that, and you're like. Bzz.
Are you ready for a little bit of an electrical engineering lesson there? You got 2 large foul poles in this corners of the stadium that are metal. They will attract lightning first. Electricity takes the path of least resistance. That is a good 150 feet up in the air. It's going to strike that first before it strikes a player with a metal bat. It should. That's the
Unless
theory.
It's Jared Jones holding the bat in the air, because then it might be 30 feet tall.
Or Hayden Travinsky, because he's a giant. But nonetheless, they got their games in. LSU won. They're advancing to the Supers. We'll get to that a little later in the show. Some regionals still wrapping up. Bad weather all around the country, but bad weather didn't stop the NBA playoffs, or the NBA finals, that is, because they play inside of a dome on top of a mountain in Denver. So we got Denver and the Heat. The Heat came back and tied up 1-1 last night I thought it was going to overtime. I was watching the end of this game. I don't know if y'all caught it, but the Denver had a huge lead, blew it. The Heat come all the way back. They're up 3 with 10 seconds left. Jimmy Butler dribbles down the court. He's trying to kill time. Shot clock's going down, has to throw up a 3. Misses it. Jamal Murray takes it, runs down the court, hits a 3. And it was one of those like clink, 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 and then it falls out, and they win the game. So, Tyler, I don't know if you catch any of that game last night.
Yeah, I catch both games. I think game number 1, Denver's coach said it in the press conference. It was a win, but Miami Heat outscored them, and they hit 30 points in one quarter. So that was definitely a big win for Denver. But I think that Miami getting game number 2, and now this, the series shifts back now to Miami, I think it's advantage heat. If they can now take both games in Miami, get back where they were in the Celtics game, where they were up 3-1, especially against a veteran team with Nikola Jokic. So I might have to trust Jimmy Buckets more. I picked the Nuggets going to games.
You picked the Celtics.
Yeah. I also picked the Celtics as well. So I don't know.
Keep
I'm
the
not
seats
going to
here.
pick. I don't know if I'm actually going to put down a pick in this one since I've just been dead wrong in the NBA playoffs. I've just been watching these games with enjoyment, but it's definitely been a fun series so far. Like I've said multiple times, I definitely love that it's the Heat and the Nuggets, two small market teams. We don't have to see, the Warriors. We've seen them plenty of times. We've seen the Lakers plenty of times. So it's definitely fun to watch these two teams, and we're definitely going to have some more games to come up. We got game 3 coming up, and I think that's definitely going to be huge because game 3 winners, if you win that one, 70% of the time you're going to win the series. So it's definitely going to be crucial.
Okay, some analytics here. If you're trying to place a bet on a winner, wait till you see who wins game 3, and then bet the opposite of whatever Tyler says.
Yeah, just fade me and then go with the analytics.
Exactly. So it's in Miami. I believe they play on Wednesday.
Yep.
Maybe do they play Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, Wednesday. They get a day off. They get travel. I think every time it's been. So they played on Saturday. Then they had their rest day on Sunday, and then now they're going to be playing. I might have that mixed up, but I know.
Well, they started on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then they took Friday off and played Saturday. So I don't know if in the finals it's like between each game is a guaranteed rest day, which I imagine it is because now they have to travel from Denver to Miami. Play games 3 and 4 in Miami. No, but they all fly private, so it's okay. They'll charter a jet, and then nobody will be the wiser. Jokic won't even have to go through
on their way back to South Beach, so it'll be a good flight.
They won't even have to go through TSA, so they can smuggle their Denver Nuggets, as you can call them, out of Denver and into Miami. But game 3 and 4 in Miami, and then I think it goes 5 back in Denver. I always get kind of muddy on how that works.
Yeah, flip-flops starting game 5. So we'll go back to Denver, and then Miami will host in 6, and then goes back to Denver.
Wow.
Since we go to 7.
Since they were the higher seed, they get.
So it's not like the MLB. I think the MLB works where you get 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, whatever like that. It's like a 2-3-2. Here it goes 2-2, and then it alternates.
Yeah, the higher seed gets the 4 home.
I guess
games.
that's fair. It's fair for in terms of it's not as blocked off as the MLB one, but when you have two teams that are truly the definition of East and West, like we do here, makes for a lot of travel for those final 3 games.
Yeah, especially it would make sense to play Miami 5, then 6, 7 in Denver, but it just is what it is. We had some other NBA news. Suns hire Frank Vogel as their new head coach, stealing from the Lakers. And then you got Monty Williams is hired by the Pistons. 76ers haven't named a new coach yet, have they? Or they hired
they hired Toronto's coach.
Or Toronto's, that's right.
Nick Nurse.
Yeah, I missed that last week. The other little interesting tidbit I saw before we started the show was Kyrie's trying to get the Mavs to trade for LeBron. But the Lakers said they're not interested in anyone Dallas has. I'm trading LeBron James for Luka Doncic.
If I'm Dallas, I'm trading Kyrie away from my team. Yeah. Look what happened whenever you didn't have Kyrie on your team.
Kyrie's also a free agent, is what doesn't make any sense to me. So I guess he's planning on, or maybe he's a free agent next year. Either way, I'm assuming he's planning on coming back to Dallas. But if I'm the Lakers, I'm saying, okay, LeBron, best player right now. Obviously, he's the veteran. He's got everything that comes with LeBron James. But if you got the chance, if the Mavs really want LeBron, hey, give me Luka. And you can have LeBron, and you can have Bronny next year when you go, finish last place and draft him. If I'm the Lakers GM, I'm making that call. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if that would even happen. I know that Luka is getting fed up with the Mavericks, especially with the move that Kyrie made, because literally they were a playoff team without him, and then they brought him in, and they didn't even make the play-in. So I would
Yep,
never
yep.
see that trade even happening. I think that LeBron's just going to stay on the Lakers, and then he's going to play for a couple of seasons until his son gets here. His son is committed already at USC. He's going to play there 1 year with the Trojans, and then he's probably going to be the number 1 overall pick and go to some team, whether that's the Spurs, Pistons, who knows who's going to be the number 1 overall pick. But I just don't really see that trade happening. I think that you're going to see LeBron stay with the Lakers until his sons get there.
That's a good point. He does want to play with Bronny. Now, Wade, if you're Dallas, are you taking the trade if it's offered?
Not if I think I have a realistic chance at extending Luka Doncic. I mean, he's like, 10 years younger, if not more. And he's kind of shown that he could win an MVP in this league. I don't know if he'll do that if the team doesn't have more success, but I think individually he's one of the guys who gives you the rare ability in all the different statistical categories. So I wouldn't do it if it centered around him. My other side to this is, do y'all think that the league will just kind of give LeBron James Jr. a pass on like the draft? Like it will kind of be like a thing where it's like, hey, don't draft him. Like he's just going to go to the Lakers. Because I mean, I heard you say he might go number 1 overall, but right now I just don't know if he's that top of a prospect. Like I think he's NBA material, but I don't necessarily think that he's like a game-changing prospect. So do you think the league just kind of lets him float to wherever LeBron is so that they can play together?
That's an interesting point, but I think LeBron.
If they want the script, then yeah, they will.
I think,
or does LeBron just sign with another team?
I think that's more likely.
That's more than likely because the Lakers, the way that the NBA lottery sets up, it's pretty much if you don't make the playoffs, then you're already automatically in the lotteries. So I think that the way that the Lakers are built, I think that they're going to continue either making the play-in or be like a 6 or 7 seed, just barely squeaking into the playoffs. So LeBron, whatever team that Bron is going to be on, whether that's the Lakers or not, he's going to be like, all right, I'm done with you. Let's go. Whoever has my son sign me. I don't care. I'll pay me $1 a year and I'll play for them.
Let me look up real quick his contract, because if he becomes a free agent after next year,
the Lakers would just honor it. I think either way, like
he signed a 2-year deal in 2-year, $97 million extension. Zeal in 2024 if he picked. So he has an option next year. So he'll play. He played this season. He'll play next year, and then I think he has an option to extend it or not afterwards. I might be reading that wrong, but like you said, Wade, they'll probably just be like, all right, go play with your son in your last, because he's going to retire
at that point.
Yeah, I mean he'll be 38, so he'll be 40.
He's on his last leg.
Yeah, so he probably won't even. I mean, it's not like he's going to be playing the 30 minutes a night he's playing now. So maybe we'll see. He's LeBron James. He'll probably pay $1 billion and get robotic arms and legs and continue to play until he's dead. So
hey, the NBA, you can turn it around pretty quickly, and wherever he goes, I imagine somebody like Kyrie Irving or one of his typical guys that he likes to play with will consider making a similar move too.
Yeah, for his last ride. So we got some other playoffs. We're going to hockey. Be honest with you, I haven't watched a single hockey game, but we do got to talk about it because it's sports. I watched the end of one game, and it was intense. The pucks were flying. People were getting checked. I mean, goalies were pissed. It was pretty neat. So, but game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals is actually right now. The Golden Knights are leading the series 1-0 after a 5-2 win at home over the Panthers on Saturday. I'm still taking Panthers to win the series just because I know nothing about hockey, but I'm rolling with Brooks Koepka. Tyler, who's your pick?
I'm going to go with the Knights. Like I've said on last week's show, I always love to root for the expansion team. And, man, what a game 1 was. It felt like in the first period it was going to be a Panthers runaway. And then all of a sudden Vegas comes back and their offense is shooting on fire. And I don't know if you watched SportsCenter. I watched SportsCenter Top 10 Play. Vegas's goalie literally made probably the save of the year. He made it with the end of his stick, and it was like if he didn't make that save, Florida probably wins that game. So that was definitely a huge win save. But Florida's definitely a sneaky team. They're like the Miami Heat right now. They're the 8th seed. They're very squeaky to the playoffs, and they've been knocking off everybody. So Vegas has to win Game 2 tonight, I think, if they want to take this series, because once the series shifts back to Florida, if that's going to be all momentum for the Panthers. So I think that this is a must-win for the Vegas Golden Knights to take care of business at home before traveling east.
So Wade, if the Panthers pull it out tonight, are you placing a parlay on Miami and the Panthers to win the championships?
That would
How
be
much cash are we sprinkling on this? We getting a little money on there?
that would be intriguing. Although I have had a championship bet on the Nuggets since my birthday, so I'm invested in the Nuggets' success, and I wouldn't want to put anything in the universe to conflict that one. But I did see an interesting stat before we hopped on the show here that Vegas is 6-0-0 because they do ties in hockey.
Right.
Against Florida Panthers all time at home, but the Florida Panthers are undefeated in Game 3s thus far in the playoffs. And Tyler's already told us the significance of Game 3 for NBA and
it's every league.
Yeah.
So,
if you win Game 3, you got to. Hey, if you win Game 3 in college baseball, you won the championship.
Yeah, I mean, which is going to budge? So I don't know. I actually think that Miami will split the 2 series. I think hockey will get the championship, and I'll stick with my Nuggets prediction in the NBA.
Bold. Okay, I like it. Before we get to our next segment, I got to let everybody know that our championship talk is brought to you by SeatGeek. Live sports are great. Live sports are great on television. We watched a lot of live sports on television this weekend.
We tried to.
Yeah. The feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. Tyler and Wade learned that for about 6 hours. That's where our friends over at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. I know y'all are using SeatGeek. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. I hear the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, which there's probably a 0% chance.
There's an Eras curse going on. I don't know if y'all read that article on ESPN. Everywhere that it stopped, all the teams are knocked out of the playoffs. Ooh, so the other tour, there's no tour in Miami. The closest one in Florida is Tampa, but there is one in Denver. So Nuggets fans, you better be on alert.
It's in July though. Elise is going to that one.
Yeah, well, you got to watch out if you're a Taylor Swift fan. You can't go. I guess you could go in July if they win, but if they don't win, you have to boycott and sell your tickets to us.
It'll knock out the Broncos and the Rockies, who didn't have much of a chance.
I hear it's an out-of-body experience, as one person described it. And I know Cameron, I know you're watching. You would love to go to the Eras Tour, so head on over to SeatGeek and try to get a ticket. Good luck, though. But you can save on it. You can use our code BELLYUPSPORTS, all capitals, when you visit SeatGeek.com, enter BELLYUPSPORTS at checkout, and you say $20 off your first purchase. I almost said first pitch. $20 off your first purchase. So on that $2,000 Taylor Swift ticket, you can make it $1,880. So there you go. SeatGeek, life's an event. We have the tickets. So I alluded to the next segment. We're bringing back Who Got That Dog? Who Got That Dog in 'em? Presented by SeatGeek. This week, I've got one that we have not had before, so I'll go last. But if you're watching, drop them in the chat who your pick for Dog of the Week is. We'll start it off. Wade, do you have one yet? Are you still?
I do. I'm going college baseball because that was the focus of our weekend.
Okay.
MLB, I'll come back to you. Don't worry. We got all of July.
For 1 week stand.
So I'm going to go with MJ Metz out of Duke. Currently, I think Duke is punching their ticket to the Super Regionals. They were up big whenever this started. So whenever most of our viewers hear this, I think Duke will already be in the Super Regionals. And a big part of that was because of MJ Metz taking over the Coastal Carolina Regional in Conway, South Carolina. The 2-seed Duke Blue Devils.
Duke did win, by the way, 12-3.
It's official already. All right. So he had 3 home runs in their opener against UNC Wilmington. The ball was just flying out of the park against all those teams. I think Coastal Carolina plays in a very hitter-friendly park, but 3 home runs is enough on its own merit to usually get you a Dog of the Week nominee, but he did it all with a torn ACL, which makes it even more incredible.
Tim Elko vibes.
Yeah,
Dang,
like
okay.
Tim Elko from Ole Miss, like Tyler said. So that was a really impressive performance. And how did he one-up it? Well, he hit another home run and added 3 hits today in the clinching game. So I would say he was probably the regional MVP. That's not official, but my bookie is.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Okay, Tyler, who you got?
Yeah, I'm sticking with college baseball as well, since it's been the talk of the town, both on our show and in the world. So I'm going to go with an easy pick here. I'm going to go with a Horned Frog himself, Trey Richardson. Not only did he have 3 home runs, he had 2 grand slams, and he had 11 RBIs. And those 11 RBIs only took him 2 innings. So
oh my gosh, that's a lot of runs.
This was a huge weekend for TCU as they put up 20 runs in that game, and they ultimately swept through Fayetteville Regional, which I think that's going to be many a surprises that happen in college baseball. So Trey Richardson hopefully avenged their football team getting spanked in the national championship, as TCU now will face Indiana State in the Supers to hopefully advance to Omaha.
Hey, Tyler, you know what we call that?
What's that?
It's a full rack of ribbies.
Yep.
11 out of 12.
You've been sitting on that one since the show started, huh? So my Dog of the Week. We got one from Chew listening in as he's studying for his PE exam. Good luck, buddy. He's got Hurston Waldrop from Florida. He probably hit 1 billion home runs because I think he leads the country.
My Dog of the Week for taking the PE and studying in the summer. That's tough.
There you go. I got to start studying for my FE. I've been putting it off. I think he's at 32 home runs right now.
Oh, this
31
is the pitcher.
Maybe.
This is Southern Miss's. You remember him? Hurston Waldrop was number 2.
Okay. I'm getting my guys mixed up. Oh, yeah.
He dominated against UConn.
Okay. Well, what was the stat line? Do you know it, Tyler?
I have no idea off the top of my head, but I know he shoved and saved Florida from having an epic meltdown and going on to the Supers.
Okay. Well, there you go. I was wrong, but that dude from Florida, I think he's the center fielder who's a
You're thinking of Jack Caglione.
Yeah.
He's just hitting nukes. So my Dog of the Week, from the diamond to the course.
The
fairway. Yeah, I'm going Rose Zhang. Wins her first LPGA start after dominating in college. I'm pretty sure she won the national championship 2 weeks ago. Says, I'm going to turn pro. She just won the Augusta Amateur that they do every year. Says, you know what? I'm going to turn pro. I've won every college award there is. Give it a shot. Wins her first event. So congratulations to Rose. That's my Dog of the Week. We'll put them on Twitter and have our listeners take account in the poll and see who wins it. Real quick before we get into all of our regional recap, I gotta sum up the golf tournament this week at the Memorial at Jack's house. It was crazy. I thought Scotty Scheffler was going to win it at one point. I thought Rory McIlroy was going to win it at one point. The man, Viktor Hovland, loud shirt, orange, white, pink, whatever he wants to wear. He wins in a playoff. And then he caddies for his former college teammate on Monday. So, Tyler, you picked him to win the last major. Brooks got it done there. But did you pick him this week?
I did not. I was a few weeks off, like I just said. But I know that Viktor Hovland's having a fantastic year. It's just going to be sooner or later until he wins his first major. It's going to happen by the end of this year. I think it's probably going to be potentially going to be the U.S. Open. Our bet at Max Homa is pretty much down the toilet bowl. So I'm going to go with my man Viktor Hovland to win every tournament, hopefully.
Oh, there you go. Just throw a blanket pick out there.
One of them will hit. I will say I told Wade this. Scotty Scheffler, who ended up finishing third, came out of nowhere on Sunday, as he typically does. He hasn't finished lower than top 10 the entire tour year. But he was DFL in putting, strokes gained putting this weekend. If the man makes putts average, he wins by 1 million shots. It's insane how good of a ball striker he is. He just can't hit a putt to save his life. So we'll see if he can get that squared away come next week for the U.S. Open. But we had Scotty and John Rahm paired up, so that was fun to watch. And Rory was leading going into Sunday. Everybody thought he might be able to get it done again, but he shot +3 on the day and ended up finishing, I want to say 7th. So tough go for Rory, but congratulations, Viktor Hovland, for taking it away. So now the moment everybody's been waiting for, we'll get into college baseball, a regional recap. It was crazy. It was wild. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 national seeds that got eliminated. Start off with Arkansas, number 3 seed. They were eliminated by who, Tyler?
They were eliminated by TCU and Trey Richardson.
There you go. Clemson, number 4. Wade, who eliminated them? For testing
Tennessee,
your knowledge.
we called it.
No, Charlotte.
Yeah, in the
okay. Well, Charlotte eliminated him, but Tennessee
we got to get technical here.
Yeah. Yes. That was a wild game. We'll get into that when we get into that Clemson regional. Vanderbilt, number 6. Who eliminated them? I should know it. I don't.
Xavier eliminated them,
right.
But Oregon won. The region.
Where is Xavier?
Somewhere in the Northeast.
Yes, it's in Cincinnati. Oregon won that region.
Come on, Catholics.
And let's see. Miami got eliminated by
Texas.
Texas. That's right. Oklahoma State was eliminated. TCU absolutely demolished them.
Oklahoma State didn't even make it to the weekend, man. They were out Friday night.
DBU put them on 18-4.
All right, I'm sorry, not
and they
TCU.
lost to Oral Roberts in their first game.
DBU, my bad. They beat them 14-2 or something insane. Auburn was the last team eliminated. Ooh. So, which one, Wade, is the most surprising to you?
I think the most surprising to me was Arkansas. I
agree with that.
TCU did have a really good run down the stretch. They almost won their conference, but Arkansas is a team that I thought could be very consistent and had some veteran leadership to get them to Omaha. And I thought their path there was pretty straightforward. So that one shocked me. And then Vanderbilt as well. I thought that team was kind of on the rise. And it shows you how close these regional pairings can be, because LSU was given a slight nod over Vanderbilt in the rankings, and we got paired with Oregon State. And presumably, if we were in Vanderbilt's spot, we would have got paired with Oregon. So at this point of the year, Oregon might be the team to beat, and they could have knocked us out. So the seeding definitely does matter. And then same thing for Clemson. I mean, they just kind of had the disadvantage of Tennessee being an SEC school and not being sent to Baton Rouge or Nashville. So
I was kind of shocked to see Clemson lose because they had been so hot. But as soon as I saw Tennessee was paired with them,
whoever won that 14-inning game was going to win the regional.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Asked afterwards.
Let's get into this 14-inning game that lasted till about 11 o'clock at night that all of us were watching because LSU was rained out. I want to talk about the umpires and how sucky they are, because we're talking it's the bottom of the – okay, well, first, top of the 9th inning, Tennessee comes up. They're down 2 runs, 4-2. Dude, top of the 9th, 2 outs, full count. You got 2 guys on base. You just need a base hit here. Dude hits a nuke to take the lead, 5-4. And then in the bottom of the 9th, center fielder comes up for Clemson. I can't remember his name, but he was the one I'm about to talk about. He hits a bomb to tie the game 5-5, and you're thinking, okay, 1 or 2 extra innings. It's postseason baseball. Up we go 14. And it was either the 12th or the 13th inning. Tennessee had bases loaded, 1 out. Clemson forces a double play to get out of a huge jam. And center fielder's jogging off the field. He's talking smack to the runner on second base. He's talking shit back to him, and they're just jarring, okay? They're not in each other's face. They're going to the opposite side. Nobody comes out of the dugout. Umpire takes one look at the center field and says, "You're out of here." Come on, man. It's the regional game. It's the 13th inning. They didn't push or shove. They were just talking. Do y'all agree with that ejection, or should the umpires just stay out of baseball?
Umpire just need to stay out of baseball, especially in postseason play. I saw in the Lexington regional also, Indiana hit a home run, and one of their guys brought out a chain, and the guy who brought the chain out got ejected. It's like,
that one was almost worse.
Turned into the no fun police. I swear, it's postseason baseball. Some of these teams haven't even experienced postseason baseball, and some of these teams as well are getting to the super regionals for their first time in their program history. So let these guys play. I think that dumps. Their strike zones this weekend were all over the place.
Yeah,
and also the rules and too much replays as well. It's like if you're gonna try and slow down the game with these pitch clocks, you gotta put a pitch clock on these umpires because some of these replays take too long.
Yep. And I also want to talk about the pitch clock. We've dealt with it all season. It actually came to LSU's aid this week, but
not Penn's.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I don't think they lost the game, but it was
it was
lost an opportunity to score some runs. Bases were loaded.
So bases were loaded, 3-2 count, 2 outs. The hitter gets a pitch clock violation, or I guess a batter's clock violation. I don't agree with that on immediately issuing a ball or a strike. You should issue a warning. Like pitcher, maybe you get 1 warning per inning. Batter, you get 1 in at bat, possibly. I don't know. They got to figure that out. But there should be some sort of warning that, hey, buddy, you took 10 seconds to get in the box. Next one's a strike.
Maybe 1 team warning per inning.
Right. 1 in inning on both sides. But to just ring them up and then it's like, well, there goes your scoring opportunity. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't agree with that. So
that's what you dream of, and to just be called out like that is just so stupid.
He's taking a moment to soak it in. You gotta compose yourself.
I mean, the rule has been that way all year. It's the right call. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's just kind of annoying. So
it's gonna happen. Like
we sat around a lot.
World Series. It's gonna come down to like bases loaded, and someone's gonna get screwed.
Yeah, and like you just said, Wade, the NCAA is worried about speeding up the game. A lot to speed up your lightning delays. So speaking of lightning delays, they were kind of all over the country. We were more prone to the Baton Rouge Regional, where we had Tulane, Sam Houston State, Oregon State, and Sam Houston State. LSU gets through it with a clean sweep, 3-0, through Paul Skeens Friday, which a lot of people were shocked. Apparently, there's a hot dog incident, according to Neil. I didn't see this one. Did y'all see about a hot dog incident?
If I did, I already forgot about it.
Neil, let us know what this hot dog incident is that you're referring to, and we'll bring it up.
He's talking about in the conference tournament. One of the East Carolina players, they had like a 9 a.m. game, and the guy hit a home run, and his teammate gave him a breakfast dog for hitting a home
breakfast
run.
Glizzy.
And they tossed him from the game.
What?
Oh my god!
Prop on the field.
It's not a prop; it's a meal.
All I want is Robo. So where are you at? Because all these get them out of here.
That's crazy. But yeah, so LSU beats Tulane with Paul Skeens on the mound Friday, which now looking back at it, was a great decision by
Heck of a decision now.
Yeah, the man he knew it was going to rain. He's predicting the future.
He just benefited from that.
Yeah, we definitely did, because if it would have worked out backwards, we'd all be calling for his job.
Yep.
But Skeens gets the complete game, which saves our entire bullpen. Of course, Saturday we don't play because of the rain delay. We end up getting Oregon State Sunday afternoon. Beat Oregon State in a very close, exciting game, 5-4. Ty Floyd came in, and in my opinion, he had his stuff. They were just working him into a lot of full counts and just getting his pitch count high up there. But LSU had so many opportunities, they just couldn't capitalize on them. But then the rain delay happened. The lightning delay, it was rain. It stormed. Sent Tyler back home on his flat tire, back on down to South Louisiana. But the LSU benefited from it. Jay Johnson must have pulled him guys, said, look, guys, you leave another guy on base, you're cut from the team because this is ridiculous. And they just started hitting nukes. They said, all right, that's fine, coach. We'll just hit home runs. Thatcher Hurd came in, got you 12 strikeouts, which is huge for LSU's bullpen at that point. Gavin Guidry comes in, shuts the game down. Oregon State takes on Sam Houston State, and it was very different than the first time they played, where Oregon State scored, I think, 16. Was that the total number?
18. Yeah, they scored 18.
There's a lot of high numbers this weekend in regional play. And they battled LSU again earlier today, and LSU got the best of them with 13-7. A few garbage runs scored out there at the end, but pitching staff came out. They did what they were supposed to do. We talked a couple weeks ago about how we were so worried about the bullpen. Wade, are your fears alleviated from what you've seen the past 2 weeks?
I don't think they're alleviated, but I definitely do have more trust. So it's alleviated, but not eliminated. How about that?
I like that. I like it.
It works.
Put that one on a shirt.
Yeah, I think that they stepped up in a big way. I think that the move to go to Thatcher Hurd in game 2 was a really good one because it was already going to be a tight schedule in the losers bracket, but poor Oregon State, man. They just couldn't catch.
They had no
breath.
pitching. They had nothing after that.
So that was just like a kill shot there to
Mhm.
put your best guy out there. I think, like the Clemson regional, like we talked about, whoever would win game 2, especially with it being a long delay like that, eating up a lot of pitchers, whoever won game 2 was going to take the cake. So I really like that move, but the caveat to that move was, hey, somebody has to step it up today in the clincher, and then in a potential championship final if Oregon State would have won. So we would have been left really depleted in that situation. But luckily,
Right.
Riley Cooper also stepped up, ate some innings. The wind was blowing out, so both sides let up some home runs. But overall, just a really good effort from him. And then we saw Griffin Herring and Ackenhausen really settle in as well.
Right.
These were all guys that pitched well in Hoover, so it's good to see them pitching well in the postseason.
Well, we saw a cruise missile hit the Tony Satchery sign. Tyler, what do we got to do to get some free Tonys when somebody hits it?
I have no idea. Like Wade's mentioned, I think there needs to be a Tony's cannon that just shoots out Tony Satchery's to
Everybody
everybody.
just take your French fries and hold them out onto the field, and they'll
Yeah,
start
like beer
shooting
showers.
Tonys. Exactly. Oxford wouldn't know what hit them if we started shooting seasoning.
Your
every
eyes
time
would
somebody
burn.
hit a home run.
Yeah, really.
But I mean, an explosion of offense from LSU. They went back-to-back games without hitting a home run, and they said, "Here, hold my beer," because you had Hayden Travinsky and Cade Bellozo just said, "All right, back-to-back. Call me Drake. We're doing it back-to-back, both times in both games." I mean, you saw his reaction, Tyler. The bats finally come alive for the Tigers' offense.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that in game 1, LSU pretty much played small ball and had no home runs that game. And just a couple of hours later after that, you have a home run fest. I feel like after that lightning delay, this offense had lightning in the bottle.
Maybe their bats got struck by lightning.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe they just
They
put
left
out
them
all
out
the
in the
bats out
field.
there, put them out, gave them some energy. So yeah, all the runs on Saturday's game came from the long ball. We saw Braden Jobert with the ultimate hero ball of getting us to 6-5. Josh Pearson, what Chet and I call the Scotty Scheffler's look like. He had a hole in one to get that.
Scotty
He had a
Scheffler
triple.
looking like.
But I think that you have to go back to the triple as well. The triple really got the offense going. Then we saw DC3 hit a cruise missile. And then we saw today, like you said, the back-to-back jacks again from Travinsky and below. So Travinsky, his defense isn't that great, but he definitely makes it up with the bat. And Cade Beloso had a phenomenal weekend as well. I know that Dylan Cruz was ultimately named MVP of this regional, but I think that Beloso could have been a second as well. And then we saw Gavin Dugas hit a home run as well. I feel like it's been a very long time. I want to say the Kentucky series, the last time that
I think
he
you're
hit
right.
a home run.
Dislocated his shoulder.
It was definitely an offensive firepower, and they just got to keep it going if they want to make it to where they want to.
Yeah, I mean, it looked great. I was texting y'all. I go from like the highest of highs to the lowest of lows during these games when they leave bases loaded. First and second
leaving
inning,
bases loaded to start that Saturday game, we were all fuming.
That was like, this is when you lose. This is how you lose a game. That's just what happens. I've been on the other side of that too many times. So it's good to see the guys move on. Of course, at the end of the game, we had news break that Georgia hired LSU's pitching coach Wes Johnson. I did see that he's planning to stick it out for the remainder of the postseason before he joins the Georgia Bulldogs as their new head coach. So good luck to you, Wes. But I mean, when you got a guy like Paul Skeens, you develop him, you're definitely getting some high offers come the off season. So it was only a matter of time.
All along, he wanted to get back in the college game, but it was too late to get a head job in the SEC. So I think Jay Johnson knew, hey, I'm going to get one good year out of him, one good year out of Skeens, one good year out of Cruz, and then we're going to have to rebuild. But that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the deal was done during the SEC tournament, and they were Jay said he was planning on telling the team tomorrow, and then somebody broke the news as soon as the game ended. So it is what it is. Wish you the best. You can find another pitching coach. There's a billion of them out there. So
we did it last year. Kelly's now Washington's head ball club. So I think that they're going to do it again.
I did like how LSU did not save their starter and say, "Oh, well, we want to save them for next game," which has been the death of the team for the past couple of years. They said, "Oh, you know what? Ty Floyd's out because of the rain delay. Hurd, you're going in, you're getting us to win, and then we'll figure it out from there. That's always been my take, is why save somebody to play tomorrow when you got to win today if you want to play tomorrow.
When you got to play 2 extra games if you lose that game.
All the chips were in that game.
Yes.
If you lose that one, you lose a regional.
Yeah, so I think obviously looking super regional, you see Paul Skeens on the mound to start Friday night. If it's Friday, it hasn't. I think it'll be announced tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it's going to be announced.
But say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm looking at Paul Skeens, Ty Floyd, and then Thatcher Hurd if needed. But I honestly would feel comfortable if you got to bring a guy in Saturday and it's a close game, throw Thatcher Hurd and pitch for the win.
Yeah, I think Thatcher Hurd's a leverage guy at this point going forward, and
Grouper as well.
Yeah.
So if
that's what I think you feel comfortable throwing Thatcher Hurd Saturday.
And they didn't even use Javen Coleman this weekend either.
Right. And I did hear something with Coleman because of his injury. He's got to know like a couple days in advance if he's going to pitch, because they got to start tuning him up to get his velocity back right now, because it's still a little early, which makes sense. They got to take the WD-40 to the old elbow and start greasing it up. But what were you saying, Wade? You were saying something about the pitching staff.
Oh, I just think that if you use Hurd in a leverage spot, and, I think that he pitched a few more innings this weekend because of the rain delay.
Right.
But if Ty Floyd goes like 5 or 6 innings and you bring in Hurd to close out the end of game 2 in that situation, I think he's every bit as available today.
For sure.
In a game 3. So it's not like he's burnt. He was burnt this weekend because of the rain delay.
Yeah, I mean, and he threw 85 pitches, He
basically made a start. So I mean, if he could close out a game and then be an opener or a bullpen option again in game 3.
Yeah, if you end up in some sort of doubleheader situation, you have him close a game and then open the next one. But I don't see it. I don't think that'll happen. I don't think they play doubleheaders in Omaha at all. So I don't think we're
not unless the weather is extremely off.
Yeah. So. But speaking of Omaha, let's get into the other super regional matchups. So your first one is 15 seed South Carolina at number 2, Florida. Then you got Duke at number 7, Virginia. TCU at 14, Indiana State. And Indiana State, they're playing a little like magic in the outfield. You had a guy, their left fielder, rob a home run, and then he tried to convince everybody he robbed his second one. So by the way he reacted, he jumped up at the wall, put his hand up, and then pulled his glove back, smiled, and was celebrating. And the runner turned around and was jogging off the field. And then he goes, I lied. His conscience spoke up. What would have happened if the runner would have jogged back into the dugout? Is he out?
At some point, I feel like the umpires.
If the next batter comes up and he's off the field.
Yeah, I saw that he went back and technically passed up the runner. I think that it was just a total bizarre circumstance. I think at some point he does have to present the ball to the umpires for them to make an official call. So I think that they were signaling him to do that off the camera, and that's when he kind of gave it up. And at that point, the umps were like, well, I mean, we should have made a call about 20 seconds ago, right? So they kind of let him come back and run the bases.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm sure that rule's in place, but what if he were to like get into the dugout and then the next batter's in the batter's box? Like, hold on.
All I can think is you have to present the ball for the play to be officially dead, and it's just something that we don't see on TV. But maybe if you were there,
well, it's something you take for granted because typically it's just thrown into the infield,
right?
So
it's Indiana State, which is like the only stadium that didn't have outfield seats. We would have seen some fan interactions or something.
Can you imagine the left fielder jogs all the way to the pitcher's mound, and then the pitcher's like, "Oh, I need another ball. This one's no good," and they just try to playfully somehow get it off the field without anybody actually seeing you didn't have a ball.
There's gamesmanship and then there's cheating. I think pretending to get hit by a pitch or something is a little bit more of gamesmanship. Stealing somebody's home run is that's criminal.
Yeah. Well, they ended up winning anyway. So TCU go to Indiana State in the 14 seed. Then you have somebody we're familiar with, Oral Roberts, taking on Oregon. Both who was that? I'm trying to remember who they play, but both of those national seeds were eliminated.
It was Oklahoma State and Vanderbilt's regional.
That's right. And then you got Kentucky taking on our LSU Tigers, the 5 seed. Luckily, Kentucky, we have hotels nearby, so you don't have to stay in the dorm rooms.
They stayed at the Staybridge Suites last time. They can do it again.
Did we talk about this on the podcast, or did this come out after we recorded the show? I think
we talked about it with the dorms.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, poor guys had to stay in the dorms. And then you got
Yeah,
honestly,
they won their
West
regional.
Virginia looked terrible this week, and I picked them to come out in the regional.
Yeah, so 16 seed Alabama taking on number 1 seed Wake Forest. That's the only 2 national seed, I guess, besides South Carolina and Florida. Those are the only 2 regionals.
Also national seeds.
Well, I mean, like worked out. Oh, I didn't have the ranking for Kentucky. So there's 3
Kentucky's
regionals.
12.
Yeah, 3 regionals that worked out how they were actually supposed to. And then you've got the Stanford regional winner, which is Texas
Going on
A&M.
right now.
Yeah, Texas A&M and
Stanford.
it's the Stanford. Oh yeah, that's right.
Stanford's still in it. They won last night to get to Game 7.
Yeah, so we'll see if the Aggies could pull it out to give another SEC team in there, and they'll be taking on Texas, which I've spoken to some Aggie fans. They're not thrilled about this. They do not like when the NCAA tries to pair it up with
you
Texas.
just signed up to be in the same conference.
Yeah, and they are also not happy with that. So, but I think that game should be played in Minute Maid Park in Houston. I think that'd be pretty neat and kind of like a neutral site area, but I believe it'll be played at Texas.
I think that's going to be decided tomorrow morning. Same thing's going to
look at a variety of factors if they're both.
Yeah.
Could they put it at a neutral site if they're both 2 seeds?
It's going to be it's going to be at a campus site. There's going to be no whatsoever going to Minute Maid, going to these major league ballparks. It's going to be at a campus site.
They only do the neutral sites if a national seed doesn't have the seating requirements or the hotel requirements for that, and they can
which they should have done for Kentucky
for a viable option. Like Coastal Carolina played at a minor league stadium in Myrtle Beach one year before they won the national championship. They had a really good run, and they hosted South Carolina because the alternative was South Carolina was going to get to host the regional, and they didn't want that. So.
And to wrap up the super regional matchups, we got our boy Matty Ice's Southern Miss Golden Eagles taking down whoever they played, because I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Penn. That's right, Penn. They took down Penn. Southern Miss taking down Penn.
Brought back a guy that threw 123 pitches.
Yes, I want to get into that.
So he will not be able to pitch on Friday.
So Southern Miss said, screw the pitch count. We threw this guy Friday to open up game 1. Well, guess what? We're in an elimination win or go home championship. You're going in, buddy. He sacked up and he went into the game. His arm probably is going to fall off tomorrow. Did he pitch a complete game?
No, he only pitched like 2 or 3 innings.
Well, he got the job done because they're taking on Tennessee. I imagine this will be in Knoxville, so that's probably going to be a pretty wild environment. But wasn't Southern Miss a 2 seed?
Yeah, Southern Miss was more on close to being a host, but I think logistics is going to put this one in Lindsey Nelson Stadium, if I were to guess.
Here's a proposal for that. When you have – so I think to keep it interesting, if you win the regional of like the higher seed, like in that situation, Clemson was supposed to be the host, right? So Tennessee knocks off Clemson. I think it should default – if the other team's not a national seed or a ranked seed, I think it should default to whoever knocked out the higher seed. Like it should be a reward.
That would make sense, but we're dealing with the NCAA here.
Indiana State doesn't even get the host now, and they're a 14 national seed. Yeah, logistics.
I don't.
Then why make them a national
both teams got to travel. It doesn't make any sense.
Now TCU gets to host, and I think that screws over Indiana State because
I definitely agree with you.
I don't think Indiana State's going to be winning because that's a travel. I mean, I would pick Indiana State if they were probably hosted, but now Indiana State's got to go all the way down to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that's not an easy trip.
If it's something to do with the seating capacity, that just doesn't make sense to me because they hosted 4 teams this weekend.
They can easily put bleachers in the outfield, and they could definitely make it work.
It can't be the seating capacity, like you just said. They hosted 4, like
everybody could get a tree stand. And
I bet they just saw TCU, Dallas, Fort Worth. They probably just screwed.
They saw the monies in Dallas.
Yep.
and we're sending them there.
There's none of this. Don't give me any of these.
No
logistics.
offense to
If you put them as a
Hattiesburg,
national
but-
seed, then they should be able to host in the supers as well.
I agree with you. I mean, it's Southern Miss Tennessee situation. No offense to Hattiesburg, but Knoxville is a
Yeah.
bigger city, and so they're probably thinking, "Oh, we get more money out of that." But I know the Southern Miss fans would show up, so I think it should be how Wade said. Now, I guess if you have two number 2 seeds or however to upset the host, and then you're like, "Well, shit, what do you do now?" It's like, okay, look at their records, look at their RPIs. You just got to like go down the list. So. Let's make some picks. South Carolina, Florida. Tyler, who you got?
Yeah, we saw this matchup early in the season. The Gamecocks swept them, but I think Florida gets the revenge. I have the Gators making it all the way to the national championship in my bracket, so I'm going to stay with that.
All right. Wade, Duke, Virginia.
I'm going to say the Gamecocks stay hot.
I wasn't
against
asking
the
you.
Gators.
I was asking you the next game. But okay,
So-
pick South Carolina or Florida.
Yeah.
You go
South
with
Carolina.
Gamecocks? Okay. All right. Duke, Virginia.
You know, I had to get my Gamecock plug in there.
Yes.
This is interesting. Another conference matchup here. I didn't get to watch Virginia over the weekend. I think they played at all the weird times, but Duke's hot right now, but there's a reason why Virginia is the number 7 seed, so I'm going to give it to the Cavaliers.
So next on my list, TCU, Indiana State. I'll pick this one. And I'm going Indiana State because they're going to be pissed off that they have to travel down to TCU. I bet you their fans travel. We'll see. I would traveling. I wouldn't chalk too much up to it.
TCU.
I think it's just bulletin board material. I'm taking Indiana State. So,
Yep.
Tyler, Oral Roberts at Oregon.
Man, I think that this is definitely tough. 2 of the hottest teams in the country right now. But that's a tough road trip. You go from Oklahoma to Oregon. So I'm going to go with the Ducks. I think that the Ducks are going to go to Omaha.
Okay. Wade, I don't even have to ask you Kentucky LSU. I think I know who you're going to pick.
Well,
so let's.
I'm going to stay far away from Alex Box Stadium this weekend because I am a jinx on Super Regionals.
If you
so-
step foot, you're cut.
Yeah.
You're off the show. It's going to be the Chet and Tyler show for the
So
rest
I
of the
think
time.
LSU is going to take the cake there.
Okay. Alabama, Wake Forest. Alabama's gotten hot lately. I mean, it's like a team of destiny. Their coach gets fired for betting on them to lose, and all of a sudden they're in a regional. It's number 16 national seed. They are traveling to Wake Forest, who's the number 1 team in the country. I want to pick the upset so bad, but
There's no way.
it's Alabama, so I don't want to pick it. So I'm going Wake Forest to win this
It's
game.
going to be an easy series. Wake Forest is going to sweep them.
Let me check the score of the A&M game to see
Maybe
if
we
they're up.
skip that one.
It's tied 1-1. Okay, well we'll skip that one.
Yeah, let me get Southern Miss Tennessee.
Southern Miss Tennessee. Tyler, who you got?
Oh my gosh, this is definitely tough. You know, obviously, on one side, I want Southern Miss to go to Omaha because it's Scott Berry's last ride. But Tennessee is playing very hot right now. Honestly, I think it depends on who gets the hosts, in my opinion, because Southern Miss is definitely a tough place to play. Unless you know Ole Miss last year, they just steamrolled them. But playing at Lindsey Nelson Stadium in that ballpark, it's going to be nuke after nuke. It's pretty much a hitter's ballpark.
I mean,
So
it's a
I
Little
think
League
that I'm just
stadium.
going to think on the mindset that this one is going to be at Tennessee's home ballpark. I think that this is going to be a really good series, a lot of good pitching in this one, especially if Tanner Hall's arm is still with him. But I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think that Chase Dollander is going to be the difference in this.
Well, we got a comment from Matty Ice. He says he says Southern Miss easy money. So
Okay.
we'll see who's right.
Honestly, I'm rooting for both of these. I think that whoever wins this one, I would definitely be rooting for them in Omaha. Well, probably not, because if LSU makes it, then that's who they'll play. It's Southern Miss versus Tennessee. So
Well,
I'm rooting for you at least one week.
we'll see who's right. We got Matty Ice versus Tyler for the picks.
I have Tennessee in my bracket. So
Yeah, I'm married to a Southern Miss grad. My mom went to
you got to
Southern
pick
Miss.
Southern Miss.
I gotta go Southern Miss. I'm
Chet,
going with
you
Southern
the
Miss.
tiebreaker.
She's listening
wants
right
to-
now. Yeah.
Chet wants a seat at the Thanksgiving table. So.
Yeah, I'm going Southern Miss. We're going with them. So, all our picks were brought to you by our friends over at Mahler Bros Golf. We all want to look good on the golf course, but it often comes at the expense of feeling good. Mahler Bros Golf has polos that look good and feel good with their lightweight and stretchy material that hugs your body like a nice warm embrace. You'll feel cool while looking just as cool. Their polos are guaranteed to make you look better, but it's up to you to golf better. On a hot summer day on the golf course, there's no polo that you would rather wear than Baller Bros Golf signature polos. Baller Bros Golf has a large catalog of polos with designs for those who want a loud design and for those who want a sleek, subtle design. They also have fun t-shirts, hats, tumblers, and so much more to make your golfing experience that much better. Use code BELLYUP, BELLYUP, all one word, all caps, at MahlerBros, MAHLERBROS.com for 15% off your order. So BELLYUP at MahlerBros.com, get you some golf polos to make sure you look good this summer. Last few things I got on my list here. We had the SEC coaches meetings. They decided to vote on an 8-game slate for 2024. And after that, the divisions will be no more. I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on this. I did want to offer up my opinion really quickly. I think it's smart for the SEC to temporarily play this 8-game slate until Texas and Oklahoma come in, based on, one, the contract they signed with ESPN was for 8 games. So reality, ESPN would be getting a free SEC game, 9th game, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants the world conglomerate. How do you say that?
Conglomerate.
You know what? Yes, conglomerate of sports to get a free money. So that's no fun. And also, you don't know the new format for the playoffs. So why give each team an extra loss? If that makes sense. I mean, you got nine SEC teams playing each other. There's going to be teams with extra losses. So we don't know what that format looks like yet. But Tyler, Wade, fight it out. Who wants to go first?
Wade, you go first. You're a debater.
Oh, y'all are so nice. You're giving it.
All right.
Wade, you go first.
We both have our turn signals on. I'll take the parking spot.
There you go.
I have a flat
Tyler
tire.
flips them off in the background.
I think that's a good point, Chet. I didn't know the ESPN details, but I like this move if it means we're going to get some extra Big 12, Pac-12, Big 10 matchups mixed in there. I don't like it if we're going to get the status quo
Youngstown
game
State
against, an FCS school. I think that's a step in the wrong direction. So I don't think the SEC necessarily wants to maintain that kind of scheduling. I do think they want to encourage their members to schedule tougher schedules as a result of this. But if every other conference is moving to 9 games, they're not going to want to have one of their 3 out-of-conference games be against an SEC school. So the only available teams to play for those 4 out-of-conference games are going to be protected rivalries, like the Clemson, South Carolina. And then it's going to resort to the smaller FBS schools and the FCS schools. So that's why I think it's a huge step back. I think you got to pace with college football and at the very least play an extra conference game. It doesn't mean that it has to be Georgia versus Alabama, but I'd rather see Georgia play Missouri than Georgia play Georgia Southern.
That's a good point. Okay. Tyler, I want you to argue the other side.
Yeah.
I know you wanted 9 games, but
I did want. I mean, if you're gonna get all this jabbering and just stay with the same 8 games, I think it's BS to me. I'm sick and tired of watching an FCS game in week 0 and week 2. I want to see these big boys go against each other. So I just think that 9 games just makes sense. And 2024 is when actually Texas and Oklahoma is joining the SEC. So I think that you're getting more, teams in the conference. It just makes sense to play more games in the conference. Honestly, the COVID season was the best season. It was a 10-game schedule. It was all SEC, and it was great.
What it could be.
So what? They had some teams that voted for the 9 games. And they had, the kahunas and the teams that didn't want it. Well, get out, go somewhere else if you don't want to play in the SEC.
And look, the committee is going to take a 3 or 4 loss SEC team potentially as a 12 seed, depending on who the losses are too. But what this does is it eliminates room for error if, somebody does slip up against a weaker SEC team or in one of their 4 out of conference games. I mean, I think losing to a small FBS school could be an eliminator for a lot of teams that are in the playoff consideration. Because if a Big 10 team loses 2 conference games, depending on who the losses are to, I would have to give them credit for scheduling at least one harder opponent.
Well, this year, only 2 SEC teams are playing a full Power 5. Wait, are playing 10 Power 5 games. Can you guess those two?
I think it's not who you would think. I think it's going to be like a team like Kentucky or someone.
Tyler?
So the SEC playing like a Power 5.
There's only 2 SEC teams that have 10 Power 5 games scheduled.
Oh, I know
10
one,
Power
South
5
Carolina.
No.
They're not playing. They're playing Clemson and North Carolina in the out of conference.
I'm gonna go with Texas A&M.
It's LSU and Florida, according to what Fletch sent me. That might be totally wrong. I didn't fact check it, but it makes sense because you're playing Florida State. The only two.
Grambling's not. Army is technically an independent, so I don't know if that counts as a Power
So
5.
I think that kind of
That's a group
counts
of
as
5. And then they also play Georgia State. State was also not a Power 5, so that's already disqualified.
So Fletch might have sent me a fake headline.
Well, like South Carolina voted against the
I don't think that any team in the country is playing 10
because they got
Power 5.
They got the
scratch that.
Clemson rivalry, and then they play teams like North
Unless
Carolina.
They're playing an all-conference schedule. They're not doing that.
Yeah. I like to move to 9. I think you have to move to 9 games whenever Texas and Oklahoma join.
You're expanding. You got to.
I don't see any reason to make the move right now, based on like the SEC ESPN contract. Why give them free money? Because it's a business at the end of the thing. So, well, I mean, I'm sure as soon as they come
as
in,
long as they get to it, I'm fine with it. Like if they don't get it by 2025 and stay with the 8 game, then.
So they joined June 1st, 2024. No,
I think
they're going to be there for the start of the 2024 season.
Yeah, right. So, but they're sticking with an 8-game season for 2024.
Yeah.
So the first year will be an 8-game season, and then they
with the potential to expand going forward.
Yeah, and they're releasing it actually the schedule a week from now, so we'll know
not
only the 8-game slate, but we'll also know the 3 permanent opponents that every team's going to be facing from now on.
And they would just add a 6th rotating one in. Should they make that move? So the 3.
All I care about is none of these like 10 years gap of going, not even going to like Lexington and all these stadiums.
Yeah,
I think we're actually going to get every college athlete is going to be able to experience every stadium in the SEC now.
If they don't transfer.
Which will probably happen.
Yeah. So, let's see what else we got in our headlines here before I get to NASCAR. Neil, that's the Bills are breaking ground on a new $1.54 billion stadium. So cool,
throwing money into a nice stadium.
Exactly. Hopefully it has a roof on it. So let's get to
it's done.
All righty. Well, let's get to a NASCAR Neil segment here, presented to you by Fanatics. You can head on over to our link, fanatics.93n6tx.net/sports and help out the show. They got 65% off right now. I just got a call from Cameron. He just bought himself a Braves jersey. So sporting the Braves, use the link. We appreciate it. Let's get a picture of it when it comes in. So NASCAR Neil writes in and says, a rain-delayed race in St. Louis gives Kyle Busch. Oh, rain delay. Where have we seen that?
Rain delay.
No, he was texting me during the LSU rain delay, and he said, it just stinks that my 2 sports I was watching on my 2 screens are both delayed right now.
Yeah, he sent me a picture. He's sitting there, he's got NASCAR on one side, LSU on the other, and Chu as well was watching LSU NASCAR and his FE or his PE class. So shout out to both of them for.
And guess which one didn't get delayed? The boring one.
Yes, the PE class. So rain delayed race in St. Louis gives Kyle Busch the pole sitter, gets his 3rd win of the season. So Kyle Busch takes the race this weekend. A race plagued by broadcast and data issues. Well, maybe you should let the Sports Scramble broadcast your races, NASCAR. We don't have any issues. Came to a close, and when a caution came with 5 to go, but Busch was able to hold on. Corey LaJoie, who was subbing for his suspended Chase Elliott, finished 21st, which is disappointing for him getting his first shot in the top equipment. Neil wanted him to finish a little higher. There was also a scary situation that happened where they had a pit row crew member get hit and hospitalized, and he was trying to find out some more information. Everything seems to be okay. It was a minor injury, but still a scary situation. You get run over by a NASCAR car. That's any car at that rate. But NASCAR Neil, we appreciate you sending that in. You've been in the comments tonight, so as always, thank you for
Yeah, it was
your
fun having
viewership.
some live action.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna. I think we're gonna start the live shows up again. We took a little break trying to explore how we're doing YouTube, but I think we got a pretty good handle on it. Tyler, the SEO genius, is getting them views popping.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do another preview, do some super regional preview and predictions coming up because people
yes,
enjoy
definitely.
it.
I
Yeah,
propose a new NASCAR segment since we have our 2 NASCAR guys in the chat. We can just bring them in, and for the NASCAR segment, they can debate like around the horn style for 5 minutes on
okay.
NASCAR issues.
All right. Well, next show we'll get that set up so they can all both join in, and we'll award them points at the end of the show as to who has the better.
We got
better
NASCAR
NASCAR
argument.
Neil
show.
versus Motorsport Matt.
I like it. There we go. But we appreciate everybody for tuning in this week. If you're over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Help us out. Check out the hype video that Tyler put together. I narrated that one. It was fun.
It can
fun
still
little
be in
project.
use, you know. LSU's got another round.
Yeah,
Watch it, get hype, get chills, you know.
exactly.
Run through a brick wall, maybe.
You can head on over to our TikTok to watch all my wonderful hole of the days. I've been working on that golf swing. Get those views up. But yeah, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Of course, I think we're going to start doing more live shows. So Monday nights, we'll shoot for 8 o'clock over on our YouTube channel. And as always, if you missed the live show, you can catch the audio on Wednesday mornings when we upload it. Anything else, fellas, before we send it on out?
Nope. Just looking
All right.
forward to
Well, we
more college
appreciate-
baseball.
Yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in. And we got some college baseball coming up this weekend. We'll catch the Bayou Bengal Bites released later this week to preview your LSU Super Regional. With that, we hope you all have a wonderful week.